Welcome to my video series about creating your ideal life. There are 2 episodes before this one. This is episode 3. So episode 1 and episode 2 should be linked somewhere around here. You should check them out first, watch them in the right order, and then come back to this one. Last time we talked about work and how to find a line of work or sources of income that are aligned with your interests and your goals in life. And that's sort of a long-term project for you to work on. But today we're going to talk about the day-to-day actions that make your life closer to your ideal one. And the best part is that you can do many of these starting today. Let's go back to the definition now for a second for a multidisciplinary life, because that's what the video series is about. So back in episode 1, I think I said something like a multidisciplinary life is a way of structuring life so that you are geared towards developing and exploring your own interests and passions, and then also explore and reach goals in different avenues of your life. And then it shouldn't come as any surprise that what we're going to do here in the day-to-day activities is exploring and developing your interests. So what you should do then is to set aside time daily, and ideally a lot of time, but most of us don't really have a lot of time to set aside to this, but set aside some time to explore and develop your interests. And that goes for both existing interests as well as new ones. I think for most people in that situation they're in right now, they're not doing as much of interest exploration, as I like to call it, as they should. But then again, it's not just about what you do, it's also about your outlook on life in general. Because since most days in life are just part of everyday life, there are normal days, you should learn to enjoy them. And one source that taught me a lot about this was the book Flow by MacLeod, I think, which I reviewed also on this channel. And 2 of the big lessons that I got from it was, 1, to be fully present in the moment when you are doing something. So that goes for if you're outside for a walk in nature, just listening to the birds and really watching what's going on and the plants and everything. Because I can guarantee you, if you go for a walk and do that, as opposed to just going mindlessly for a walk, you're going to enjoy the first one a lot more. And then the second lesson is that you should work on something that's challenging, but that you do have the skill to overcome. He says in the book that between boredom and anxiety lies the ideal golden zone, if you will. So that's where you find the flow. And if you do something that's too difficult, you get anxious and scared and it's hard and you can't do it. But if it's too easy, it gets boring and you're not really feeling a sense of progress. So you should keep that in mind when you are practicing and exploring your interests. You should do something that's suited to your difficulty level, that's a bit challenging, but that you can overcome it if you focus. Because that makes life just really rewarding in itself, just feeling that emotion of trying to accomplish something that's challenging, but that you can do because you have the skills. So then in your everyday life, you should spend time exploring and practicing your interests, and then especially take these 2 lessons from the book Flow into account. But what else should you do? Well, you should not just practice your interests, you should also work on your goals. And that goes for the goals related to the work thing that we covered in the last episode, but also just your other goals in life. Because that helps give you a real sense of progress. If you feel like you're waking up every day and every day is the same and you're not really getting anywhere, that doesn't really lead to a happy and ideal life. But if you wake up every day and you get a little bit closer every day to achieving the goals that you want, and you can feel the progress and you can feel like you are improving your skills and improving yourself, then that can definitely be part of your ideal life. So then have a look at your goals and set aside time for them as well. And also, of course, you will need free time. You should set aside some time where you are relaxing and chilling out with friends and all that, but then try to really be present in the moment then as well, as mentioned in the book Flow. Another thing you should set aside time for in your daily life is learning. And I think I've covered parts of this in another video too, but the thing about learning is it has so many benefits. One thing about learning is that it helps you reach your goals. And the thing about a multidisciplinary life is that you are trying to reach goals in many different avenues of life, right? So then you obviously have to learn a lot of things about different topics. So then it's kind of integral to that kind of lifestyle, and that vision of life is learning. So you have to learn. But then also it's rewarding in itself to many people, including me. It also makes you more interesting, so maybe it can be easier to form bonds with people there. It can make it easier to reach your goals more efficiently and so on. So there are so many benefits to it that you should set aside time for this as well. But by now I've talked about quite a few things that you should set aside time for, right? For your interests, your goals, and being social, being with your friends and relaxing and learning. How can you find the time for everything? Because that is a question we all have, and that's a difficult one. How do you find the time for everything? And it's really hard for me to answer that in this video because like people's lives are so different and they're structured in so many different ways and they have different duties, right? But I do have like a couple of guidelines that I can try to give you here. So what is like your available time? Let's start out with that. That's all your waking hours minus everything that you have to do anyway. So that would be work if you're working, or school if you're in school, or everything with compulsory attendance if you're in university. But based on my university experience so far, that's not that much. There are many things you should definitely do, but not too many things that you have to do, but I digress. Let's go back to that time then. That time that you kind of have available. You should use most of that time to pursue things that are related to your long-term goals. And then once you have set aside some time for that, then maybe you should do like about an hour a day of exploring and practicing your interests and staying fit as well. And then if you have more than that available, then great, use that as well. Then also just sprinkle in some learning here and there, like when you have a few minutes, whether that's listening to podcasts, YouTube videos that are educational, something like that. Just fill like the small parts of your everyday life with that. And also just try to be social and have free time whenever you feel like you need it, and probably a bit more often than that as well. That doesn't sound like a perfect answer maybe, and it's not really a perfect answer because I'm trying to make this suited to a lot of people. It's kind of a general rule. So it's hard for you to like do that without adapting it to your own life. Try to do that then. Try to look at your own available time and then divide that up. Most of the time to your goals and then your interests and then being social, learning, etc. And once you have that, then you can start to have like daily plan-ish of what kind of time you're spending on the different things. And then what exactly these things will entail. So your goals and your interests, etc. will change throughout life, and that's part of life. But the thing is that once you have a structure like this, and then you try to structure your life in this method, you will always feel a sense of progress, a sense of going towards your goals, and a sense of flow and happiness in most of the things that you do. I can guarantee that. Obviously this doesn't solve all your problems in life, but I definitely think it helps you come a lot more close to what I think is the ideal multidisciplinary life. And that's really all I feel qualified to talk about at the moment. I mean, I am young myself, and these are some of the things that I've learned throughout my life, based on books and the internet and just my own experiences. But I think that in the future, maybe I will have more knowledge to share with you around this creating your ideal life topic, that I will create like a renewed video series of this. But so far, I think these 3 videos cover the basis of what you should do to get closer to your ideal life. So go out and chase that and try to find the structure you need for the life you want. I thank you so much for watching, and then I'll see you in a different video next time.